Welcome, guys. Today's conversation, we're going to be talking about the will of the Creator and the most juicy golden nugget that is super necessary in our spiritual journey and our spiritual work. I'm sharing this today because this has been my nemesis, my struggle, my pain point. It has been the area of my life that has been the most challenging. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be truthful, honest, and real about how this golden nugget has been for me and why I'm realizing how important this is. So let's do it. So if this is your first time here, welcome. This conversation, everything we do on this channel is about supporting the higher self's purpose, soul purpose, living who we truly are, being that in the world, and being our best self. Yeah, that's what it's all about. So this golden nugget, guys, is real because it's all about where am I in my relationship with the Creator, higher self. However you term that higher self, right? Where am I in my journey and my relationship? And the theme that has been coming up this week and consistently has been, where am I with following the Creator's will? And, you know, the truth is, I'm not always following the Creator's will. I come from a journey of complete rebellion, doing my own thing, right? To now turning a new leaf into a new page of what is the Creator's will about this. And while I've done it sometimes, I have not been consistent. So I'm coming back to this message because this is the golden nugget. It is the creme de la creme, is the piece. If we master this piece, then it opens up a whole new world of transformation and possibilities. And we're going to go deeper here. We're going to go deeper. So let's take a moment here just to see why the will of the Creator. This is something that many don't even consider. And I didn't even start considering this until I started my spiritual journey, and a mentor guided me to tap into the Creator's will. And I still had a hard time. Even though I wanted to, it's almost like something in me was holding me back and would sabotage my conscious free will choice to include the Creator. So it's like there's a conscious part of me that wants to do X, but then there's something in the unconscious that's the complete opposite. You can call that the enemy, right? Pride, rebellion, whatever that is, that intercedes or intercepts and goes against the will of the Creator and against our free will choice. So we have this battle going on within, and this battle, if we don't address the unconscious, then we won't really know that that's what's happening. Well, let's reverse a bit here and really go into the will and really seep into this, because I was asking myself these questions. I was like, why wouldn't I want to know the Creator's will? Like, why wouldn't I want to know what the Creator's will is for my life? Like, a lot of people don't consider this. They don't even know that the Creator has a will. The higher self has a will for your life, for my life, for all of us. The will of the Creator, thy will be done. The divine will is the most sacred, loving will that has our best and highest good at heart. It knows what's best for us. It always makes the highest and best choices. It's always victorious. It will always lead us to our greatest joy and fulfillment. It's benevolent, it's kind, it is the way that leads us to our freedom. So why is this will ignored or dismissed or treated as if it's not important, or even given the place in our lives where it is given priority over our own intelligence, our own ego's intelligence? When will the ego step aside and give up that selfish will to include, collaborate, and move in harmony with the higher self's will? This sacred work of aligning with the higher self's will is the most valuable and most treasured gift we can give our souls, because we are stepping aside, or the ego's will step aside, and allows the divine will to lead. Let's break this down a little bit, because when I heard this before, I was like, how am I going to do that? How do I get to that point? There's no way. I don't know how to do it. This is hard. It's so much work. I'm afraid I'll mess up. I've messed up many times. Please, if you're on this journey, forgiveness is key, because I messed up too many times, but let's get there. So it's all about that surrender and that patience with ourselves as we go through the introspection and the cleaning up and the healing process with the Creator, so that we can come back home. So we can come back home to who we are, and allow that part of ourselves, the higher intelligence, our higher self, to be the forefront of our lives and be part of our lives intimately, so that it's the will of the higher self is considered, it's included, it's acknowledged, it's heard, it's listened to, it's integrated into the fabric of our lives. It is what is leading us, instead of the ego intelligence, which is based on a lower primitive intelligence. So depending on the higher intelligence, a higher intuition to lead is a no-brainer, but many people don't do this. If you were to ask yourself, am I following the Creator's will or the higher self's will in all areas of my life? If you ask yourself that question, you'll see, and you can be honest with yourself. Like, I'm not really doing that. But what if I did? What if I completely surrendered and said, I just want your will, beloved. I just want your will. What would my life look like? What would every area of my life look like if all my decisions came from my higher intelligence and higher self? What would my world look like? And it would just be divine. It would just be awesome. No area, I could not complain, because the divine will is leading all areas of my life. This requires such great humility and acknowledgement, and doing the work, the sacred work of making the unconscious conscious, so that we have free will choice. Recently, I was asking myself this question, because I was like, what is it in me that refuses to include love and loves guidance, loves leadership? What is within me that resists that authority and resists that leadership? And why is this so important, that the higher self is the one making the choices and not the ego intelligence on its own? What if we came to collaborate and we worked together in cooperation and alignment? What if that were my situation? And the truth is, I realized, it's like, there's something in me that does not, that I have to make conscious. And as I did the work, I started to realize that these patterns that are nestled so quietly in the ego, in our collective consciousness, in our own subconscious, they're patterns of rebellion against the Creator's will. And this harms us more than we know, more than we can articulate. A lot of us are not fulfilling our soul purpose and why we're here. A lot of us are not even fulfilling our highest potential. A lot of us are doing things that we could even be doing. A lot of us could be doing things that would bring us greater joy, fulfillment, and prosperity, but we're not. There is a law, ask and ye shall receive. This golden nugget here It's sweet because this is what I realized. It's like, if I don't ask the Creator for solutions, if I don't ask the beloved higher self to guide me, then I will not know. I would be depending upon my own ego intelligence, which is very limited in its scope of awareness and very limited in its understanding. But what if ask and ye shall receive is an invitation from our beloved Creator, higher self, to call in and rely upon, depend upon our beloved, the Creator of the entire universe, to guide our choices as you would your beloved friend or your closest person in your heart. If you call a friend for guidance, you call a mother or a family member, how about calling upon the Creator, higher self, that knows the best solution for our lives? Ask and ye shall receive is the law. So when we ask, there are a few things that need to be done here. Asking is sitting down, creating the space for that conversation. Sitting down, carving out time out of our busy schedules, and listening to what the Creator has to say is another skill set. So first, it's the patience of the ego to carve out time to listen to the higher self, to slow down and ask the question. It is through asking the question that we unlock the key to what is already within us. The Creator wants to reveal to us solutions that we have not yet tapped into, that we can utilize to improve our lives on a very practical level. When we sit down and ask these questions, the ego is going to say, oh, I got things to do. This is going to slow me down. This isn't productive. Oh my gosh, it's going to take too much time. I don't have the patience. This is my ego stuff. Yours may be different. You can explore this. But if you're not sitting down asking questions, then that means that there's something running in the unconscious that's blocking that. For me, that was a story and a whole plethora of a whole narrative that was not supporting that habit, which was asking, checking in, including the higher self, the Creator. When you sit down and ask, then there's a time to be patient and listen. That's another block I had, listening. So I had to work through that, listening and waiting for the answer, and then asking more questions. Now, in this time of asking, the ego's impatience may be like it's used to just making decisions on its own and just taking off and doing its own will. The personality, a lot of us don't include God, right? Especially in decisions that impact our lives, moving, taking a job, marrying someone, opening a bank account with a certain bank, going on a trip, all these things are big decisions because that trip could lead someone to their death and it's not their time yet. Or that house that they bought could be a major mistake. Maybe they're supposed to move somewhere else. Like, there's so many different reasons as to why it is to depend upon the higher self to guide our decisions, because we can cut down on a lot of mistakes and delays and consequences, painful consequences, if we slow down to include the higher self in our lives. And, not just for decisions, but overall just an intimate, loving relationship with who we truly are. Because I was asking myself, this was like, why wouldn't I want to sit at the feet of the Master? Why wouldn't I want to dive into the Creator's intelligence and wisdom and get to know the Creator intimately? Why would I want to know His solutions to global warming or to my soul purpose? Why would I want to know all these things? Why would I want to know all these things? So I was like, then that means I'm thinking my intelligence knows enough, that the ego knows enough, that I know enough, I know it all, but I don't. But the thing is, by free will choice, if we don't ask, we won't know. If we don't include, we won't know. So if we want to improve our lives and make an impact, if we want to improve our world, the only solution is to find out, include the higher self, the creator of all intelligence, to find out what is the solution here? What is your will? What if we make that the supreme intelligence in our lives, and that be the guiding light in our lives and in our world, in our economy, solutions in our economy? Let's talk about that. The economy. What about that? What solutions does the creator have for our economy? What is the creator's will for the economy? Like, a lot of politicians, a lot of people in the government don't rely upon the creator's will. What if they did? What world would we see now? Would people be suffering with inflation? Would we have a different market? What would we see in our lives? And I believe that the creator's will is prosperity. The creator's will is for us to live a life worth living that's built upon purpose and contribution and doing things we love. Not just for the money, but to do things out of service and love and contribution and care for each other, fulfilling our unique calling and purpose as the Creator has called us to do. That we all live a life that's prosperous and abundant if we choose that. Free will choice, as we choose that. So this is the work, guys. And I'm no better than nobody because I've found my stuff. I've seen it. I'm seeing it on the wall. I'm like clear as day. I know what I need to improve. And that is not my will, Creator. Thy will be done. And this is the practice, because it is a practice of surrender and great humility to let go of what I think I know and to slow down. And that's the hardest part that has been my pain point, is the slowing down part, because I don't have a lot of time as it is, lack of time creation, because I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have a window of time between time to do things, and so I have to do things efficiently, but it leaves no excuse for me to do anything without the Creator's will or asking. This is a new practice. It is a new paradigm and a new way of living. It's not the current normal, but this is the way it's supposed to be, where the higher self is the master and the ego is in collaboration. The ego is not in the driver's seat. The higher self is in the driver's seat, leading us, guiding us, and we're working together in a partnership, in harmony, fulfilling our unique calling and purpose in the world. I know that if we want to see a better world and a brighter future, it can only come from the higher self, and when we include the Creator in our lives. When we make choices that include the Creator, we can live a life that's a whole different way, a whole different vibe, a whole different transformation, a whole different delivery, a whole different life we could live on earth. And this may sound idealistic, but it just starts with one person. And I know people who are, very few actually. I know one that's really good at stepping aside and asking questions. She's like the only person I know that does it, that level of devotion. But I'm learning from that, because this is what I need to become, which is that level of devotion, that level of inclusion and patience to fulfill my purpose. And here I am today, because one of my purpose is to have conversations, and I decided I'm going to do that today. I'm going to show up and do my part. And if you want to know your purpose, the Creator has the answer. If you want to know why you're here, who you are and why you're here, your soul purpose, your calling matters. And the only way you can find out what that is if you ask, is if you discover, is if you are willing to let go of what you think you know is best for your life, surrendering your will to the higher self's will, which is always to give you a life that is worth living, that's prosperous, abundant, fulfilling. And tune into that higher calling and that higher intelligence that wants to gift you its kingdom, wants to gift you amazing life, a fulfilling one, a joyful one, because that is what should be normal. And when we allow that higher intelligence, the creator, into our lives, we allow that version of ourselves to become who we are. It's like a union happens, you know? And the decisions we make are clear, conscious, and leaves out mistakes and time delays, which I've made many of those. But I told myself I have to refine this skill of asking the questions, receiving the answers, and following the guidance, so that the will of the creator is trusted as the supreme guidance that knows what's best for all of us, as is the only one who created all humanity. So why wouldn't the creator know what's best for you, me, and all? So I think it's really a time of change and a movement in that direction, because we've moved too far away from the creator. We've moved way to the edge of destruction as a humanity, depression, suicide. We've moved away from love. We've moved away from that relationship with the creator, higher self. Many have, not all, but many. And our world is a byproduct of that. But what if we had a movement towards the creator? A movement where we said no more exclusion of the higher self, and an inclusion that was very practical and very intimate, where the higher self was integrated and allowed into our lives in our day-to-day, moment-to-moment choices, as you would your first love, your best friend, whoever you want to call that, but your most trusted connection within your heart and your soul. Right there in the heart. Letting that lead us forward to a new direction and a new future built upon love, collaboration, purpose, joy, and fulfillment, in harmony with the creator's will, living a life worth living and prosperous. That is what I hope to see in the world, and in my life. That's what I'm working on, and I'm committed to my purpose, and that's why I'm here today. So I want to say thank you for listening. If you made it this far, if you have any comments, feel free to do so. I wish you all the best on your journey of discovering your soul purpose. This is something that I'm going to be putting together, by the way, a product, a service to assist people in discovering their purpose. If that's something you're interested in, feel free to leave a comment below, because this is something I will be putting out in the future, near future, as part of my purpose. So I wanted to say thank you for listening. I wish you the best, and you deserve a life full of love, joy, and prosperity. Namaste.